Welcome to Cigar Time, your ever so friendly show all about premium cigars. Every Wednesday night at this time. So get ready for an exciting show.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
The show will be exciting, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Always is.
Everybody's charged
Moose is
up,
on the show, so
ready
you
to
know.
go.
There you go. You got moose.
Got moose and tea. What more could you ask for?
I like coffee with my moose.
Coffee with your moose?
I'm sure you
Is that
do.
chocolate mousse or
I'm sure you do.
chillin' mousse?
Both.
We did chillin' mousse last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope everybody had a good week.
Yes.
Yep.
The
Absolutely.
weather's still not the greatest, but you know, what the heck.
But baseball's starting.
Baseball? Well, not, I mean, spring training.
Spring training.
I mean, they don't.
That's baseball.
They should actually start the season in Florida. That way they could end the season before the frost hits the stadium.
You would think they could do that. I mean, there's enough
I don't get it.
enough places between. Well, they play. I mean,
Arizona, California.
yeah.
Yeah,
New Mexico.
they could
Texas.
arrange the schedule.
Texas.
Yeah, it's more international now. 'Cause the
Vancouver.
world, you know, when they have to scrape snow off the fields during the World Series, I mean that's
That's
not
pretty bad.
That's
Yeah.
not. That's
And they're
not
too
good.
great. They're not going to cut the games, and they're not
Here's
going to
a
do double
story.
headers.
My father didn't make it to my birth because he was covering the World Series.
Yeah, it
for
used
the
to be.
Bullet-
Yeah,
for the-
yeah.
He was a sports reporter. He was covering the game.
Philadelphia, nearly everybody used to read the bulletin.
Yeah, and it was October 7th was the final game of the World Series.
Now-
Really?
Now when is it?
Now
November
what is it?
2nd?
November. It's in
Your
November.
your father worked for the Bulletin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a sports reporter.
My grandfather worked there.
Really?
Yeah.
I was a bulletin paper boy.
Yeah. When you read the bulletin,
I
the
was a bulletin
bulletin's
paper boy.
there.
Bought them for
The
3 cents, sold them
bulletin's
for a
there.
nickel.
Yep.
The
15 and 20
bulletin's
on
there
Sunday.
for you.
Stop.
My dad started. He graduated high school on a Friday. Monday morning he started as a copy boy.
Copy boy.
When
That's
he left, he was the
everybody
editor.
started.
He was one of the editors.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he worked his way up.
I'm sure they knew each other.
Yeah, I mean it was a big building, but
Yeah, 32nd
Everybody-
and Market Street.
yeah, it was a big building, but
Yeah.
everybody knew everybody.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I'll
awesome.
In
never
fact,
forget that.
remember they used to have that take your son or take your child to work day?
Yeah.
I got a photo of me sitting at my dad's desk with a phone in my ear, my hand on the printer on the typewriter, which I still have by the way, and an ashtray full of cigar butts.
Awesome.
That's what
Wait,
we
you
like
still
to
have
hear.
And I was
pic-
like, yeah, I still have it. It's hanging up at home.
You have
That's
the-
what
you
we
have
I
the
was
like
like
to
pic-
hear.
5 or 6 years old.
So you guys still have the picture or the
Yeah, it's still-
typewriter?
Both.
And the tray
you really?
and
Yeah,
the
both, yeah.
ashtray of cigar butts.
Yes, I still have those too.
He's working on his own now, though.
So, what is that we're smoking today?
Well, if Moose,
Moose does it all.
he knows the.
What are we
It's a
smoking, Moose?
Danno.
Okay.
It's Habano, and it is the wrapper is a Nicaraguan Habano. The binder is Nicaraguan. The filler is Nicaraguan, Brazilian, and Honduras. It's a medium body. It has spice, pepper, cedar, leather, and
smoking
earth.
This is by Nestor Miranda, right?
Yes. A lot of people don't know Nestor Miranda.
no, he just.
He's one of the biggest players in the Dominican Republic.
Is this a pigtail?
One of the wealthiest guys in the Dominican
Look at that.
Republic
It's
as
got a
well.
pigtail on it.
And a hell of a nice guy. Always wears sunglasses and good clothes.
You can do that when you're a millionaire.
I guess.
His future's so bright, he's got to wear shades.
Something like that. This was named after his late son, who was sadly, due to an illness, taken way too early in life. And every year, for a few years, they dedicated a cigar in his name, called it the Danno. We bought these. Actually, these have been aging for a while.
Yes.
We've been selling them for the last couple of years, and I think we have about 600 of them left, and that'll be the end of them because it was a one-shot deal. We've got them in a couple different flavors.
Yeah, they come in the Habano, which we're smoking right now. Also in the Maduro and Connecticut wrappers.
The aroma on this is awesome.
It's very, the
Well,
first
wow.
draw is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a little higher-end cigar price-wise, but I know in our stores we're running good specials on them, and by the, I think we have a buy 3 get 2 free, something like
We
that.
do, and a box is.
If you can find
Less than
boxes.
$100.
Yeah, if you can find boxes under $100 for a cigar. Look at the size of that baby.
It's 7 by. It says 58, but it looks more like
Almost
a
like a
56.
6. Yeah,
No, it looks more like a 56.
I don't know.
But because of the size,
I think
it
it's a
looks
58.
Yeah, I
it's
think
a 58.
I think you're right. What size is this technically? The double Corona.
It's like a double Corona
Yeah, it is a
size.
double.
It's not long enough for a double Corona.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
7.
Sure
It is. It's 7 inches.
7? Yeah.
This is 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, then it is.
It actually looks longer than 7.
it does, but it's not.
Don't ask me what I'm thinking.
No, but everybody on the panel except for one is thinking the same thing, and that one is me.
Well, I was thinking that's what she didn't say.
Oh, that's all right.
It looks longer than 7 inches.
Y'all wouldn't know.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
How you smoke it?
Okay. Very smooth.
Mm-hmm. I really like the Maduro.
Yeah, I smoked the Maduro. I like that one too.
Maduro's
But
very
I'm
good.
not a big Habano guy, but this is pretty good.
This is
You know
really
what?
good.
I'm not either, but I think my taste must be changing because
You like more Habanos now.
I'm starting to. We
Yeah.
reviewed a cigar that had a Habano wrapper a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe how much I liked it.
Eduardo's ruined you.
You know, oh, maybe it is the Eduardo I was
That's a
thinking
pretty
of.
good cigar for $4.99. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the we specifically reviewed that because it was a new one to the line,
Right.
and it was Habano, something
Yeah.
different.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
I find this the initial thing is, even though it's Habano, it's not quite as, for lack of a better term, strong
Right.
as the Eduardo. The Eduardo is kind of right there.
Right.
This one's kind of mellow. It's original.
It is very smooth.
This company has been around for well over 120 years.
It's
I
the
think.
oldest.
In the Dominican Republic,
The oldest
yeah.
manufacturer of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. La Aurora.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
La Aurora is
right. La Aurora,
one of the
yeah.
oldest brands around, and modern brand. They also, I think, distribute Presidente beer, which
Mhm.
is
Yes.
the national beer of the Dominican Republic. And
Oh, they
actually-
basically
you know what?
they own everything.
You know
in
what?
the
I don't
pretty
know if they
big.
do anymore.
Oh,
I know they
maybe not.
did. I think
They
they
may have
sold.
sold it.
They
Yeah,
sold
they
that.
I
Yeah.
was talking with somebody about that the other day,
Didn't they do
and
the
I
wa-
said they owned it, but I think you're right.
They did sell.
They
it.
also
I think they one
sold.
time owned the
cigarettes.
manufacturing rights to Marlboro.
Yeah, but they sold that too for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's why Nestor walks around in suits and sunglasses. all the
I
time.
guess.
Very sweet.
Yes, I was just thinking that
All
for
right,
a
Scott. Why
Habano.
don't you? Yeah, for Habano. Why don't you give your initial impression?
It's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I just started to get a little bit of red pepper. Just a little bit.
I haven't got
Yeah.
there yet.
I'm getting some kind of spice on the tip of my tongue.
And I say,
A little crushed red. It's a different than black pepper.
yeah.
yeah, it's almost like like those red pepper flakes you get in,
Mhm.
in a
Yeah.
pizza shop.
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of right now.
There's
But
black
s-
pepper flakes. There's red pepper flakes. Why is there not green pepper flakes?
There
probably
there
are.
is.
There is green. I've never seen that.
You get them in green peppercorn. You
Oh,
you got to
okay.
grind it yourself.
Yeah,
It
you got to
doesn't
grind
come-
it. Yeah,
Doesn't come as a regular product, but there is green peppercorn.
I got it.
There are green peppers.
Oh, definitely green pepper. Yeah.
Wow,
What
this is
i-
really smooth.
You know, you're a culinary whiz.
Mm-hmm.
What does a cayenne pepper look like? I've
Yeah.
only seen it in ground form. I mean, there must be
Yeah,
something
cayenne-
called a cayenne pepper.
Does it
There
look like a
is.
chili? Doesn't it look
It's
kind of like
pretty
a
Kinda like
chili?
spicy.
chili
Yeah, it's
pepper.
spicy.
It's a little thinner and a little longer.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
got
it's
kind
one
of
of
a
those
tail
kinds
line.
of
It
got a
looks
little
sick.
tail,
Yeah.
You know, and they just dry it out and then grind them up.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yeah, for most tables, that's about as spicy as you get. It's not over the top spicy, but for most people's common usage of it, that's the limit of their spice.
Isn't it usually mostly used for cooking as opposed to flavoring?
No, no,
or-
I put cayenne pepper on a lot of different things.
Really?
Oh yeah, I put it in tuna salad,
Yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
Well, that sounds
It's
good.
got-
People
Yeah.
use cumin, and I think that's spicy. I mean,
Cumin's good too.
That's
Yeah.
really.
You find cumin spicy?
That's it's a pepper.
Oh, yeah.
People put in their chili.
Yeah, well, put both those things in chili.
Oh wow.
I like ghost peppers myself,
Yeah.
Oh, I just had
or Spanish bonnet.
California Reaper.
Never heard of that.
ghost
Oh, yeah.
pepper aioli.
Oh,
Really?
Oh man, that was
How many
good.
Scoville units is that?
More than I know.
More than you could possibly drink.
I'll tell you what, it was great with the Swiss cheese and liverwurst.
Ah,
Which is higher in the Scoville units, the Spanish bonnet or the ghost?
The ghost is
The
higher.
ghost,
Ghost
is
is
the
higher?
the highest.
Is it, the
the
ghost
highest
is
is
the
the
highest.
No,
Ghost.
there's a newer
California chili.
No, there's
California Reaper
no,
is
there's
the highest.
No, not anymore.
When they
There's
do
one
that?
from North Carolina now.
That's what I'm saying.
It's from
Carolina.
North
Carolina
Carolina.
Reaper.
I thought you said
California.
California.
You
I'm,
said
I'm sorry.
California.
I'm sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
did say California.
Not California. It's
Reshoot.
Carolina. Carolina Ghost.
No, they call it something else,
Yeah.
but it's
They call it Reaper.
Reaper,
California
yeah.
Reaper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah.
They
It's twice as hot as
the
it goes.
University of North Carolina, I believe it's the University of North Carolina, runs a department that measures all the Scoville
Right.
units, and they crossbreed and hatch new peppers all the time. They have a little farm. They do everything right there.
Hmm.
They developed this pepper, and it's supposed to be the hottest thing on the planet.
Yes.
Well, I understand most people, that if they taste the Reaper, they immediately become weepers.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah, I don't-
And
I thought that was actually pretty
you don't-
good.
if you're going to cook with it, the cook has to wear a respirator and gloves.
Ah, I
Yeah.
kind of pepper then.
And yeah, and you use
Now you're
very
talking.
little of it.
Yeah.
Now you're
Very
talking.
little,
Now you're talking.
Why would someone want to eat that?
Rob, what do you think?
because they don't
I love
care about
the.
the units.
I
Carolina Reaper.
see.
No, about the cigar.
So I think this is a fantastic blend. It's really good. What did you say it was again? Moose?
I didn't.
The
From Mexican, Honduran,
no,
Nicaraguan.
so it's
No, it's
Nicaraguan, Habano, Nicaraguan binder. The filler is Nicaraguan, Brazilian, and Honduran.
Brazilian.
There you go.
The Mata.
Very
That's a-
nice.
That's a
It's-
Brazilian
I
tobacco.
can't believe how smooth it is.
Oh, the Brazilian tobacco is going to, that's what's
It's
giving
really
you that
good.
taste.
Like got a nice taste. I'm getting an earthy taste to it also, and the pepper. I'm getting a little bit more of the pepper now that I'm getting into the
I'm
cigar.
trying to run back in my mind what earth tastes like. I used to eat it when I was a kid, but
Damn.
Moose,
earth.
your first impressions?
very good cigar. I'm enjoying it so far.
It's your size too.
Yeah, I like big cigars, so that makes a big plus. I'm enjoying this. This is nice smoke. It's got a good combination of flavor, burning well. It's got a decent amount of smoke.
Cool.
And construction's pretty good.
Yeah.
See?
I think the construction's great. It fixed itself, which cigars should do.
Mm-hmm.
The sweetness backed off and turned into a little spice, but it's like a mixture of both. So far, so good.
Yeah, I'm getting the sweetness. Now I'm getting a little hint of pepper. Certainly pleasant to smoke. I would call this, again, probably the lower side of medium.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
You think it's more medium?
Mm-hmm.
Funny to me.
I think it's right. Well,
I think it's a solid medium.
How you really do.
I say lower side because the sweet is kind of taking away from the
Yeah.
strength.
It certainly
In a
has a
sense.
sweet finish.
it does have a very sweet
Yes,
finish.
that's-
Very
Yeah.
Well,
sweet
it's
finish.
like you were saying, you said last week, that the cigar has more body, but it was a medium.
Right. Yeah, fuller bodied but
Yeah,
medium
yeah.
strength.
This is a solid medium bodied cigar to me.
Okay.
But as Tia said, it's a little on the mild.
It's certainly pleasant. I think it
The
will be
aroma's
pleasant.
nice.
Yeah, I think it'll be pleasant to anybody's taste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Very pleasant.
The aftertaste, the finish is really good.
So Scott, you're going to continue to educate us on the virtues of fermentation, etc.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's we were talking about fermentation again, which is the definition is it's a process where the leaf continues to ripen, and the nicotine content starts to dissipate, and a lot of ammonia is released in the cigars. And again, I couldn't emphasize enough last week that this is kind of where all of the magic happens with the cigars, and every manufacturer has a different process.
The pedal hits the metal.
Exactly.
There you go.
So every manufacturer has a different process, different standards on what temperatures they let the tobacco reach, how long they ferment it, and then the other thing is when we talked about last week about when they actually wet they moisten the tobacco or mist it,
Missed it, yeah.
and it's not just with water. They use what's called Bethune, and it's usually I've heard some people use Bethune as like like mostly water, but a little bit of wine mixed in. That's actually what we use with the Eduardos.
Yeah, years ago.
Years
yeah.
ago.
But it's usually some kind of something that has some kind of a sugar content, because the yeast will feed on that, and it turns that into sugars, and that's where you get a lot of the sweetness. And it's how the manufacturers. I'm no agronomist, but this is how they control a lot of the maturation process and the whole fermentation process. So If Paul was here, he could tell you more about it, but he ain't.
He's not here.
So
He's in the fields.
He'll be here tomorrow.
He's actually in the road. On the
He's,
road.
he's in the field.
Paul on the road. And the fermentation process, it continues up to about 6 months, but it can last longer. Again, it all depends on the manufacturer. It depends on the leaf. If you recall, we talked about the first part of this process is separating the Secco from the Ligero from the Velato. So depending upon the type of leaf, the thickness of the leaf, what the intended use is going to be, like whether it's a wrapper, a binder, or filler, all determines how long it's going to be, the fermentation process is, and some of the controls they put in place with it. And one of the things I read is there are some companies, and I know that Perdomo is one of them with their wrapper tobacco, that will double and triple ferment the tobacco. And I know Perdomo does that with the champagne. They triple ferment the wrapper, and it just smooths it out, and it continues to release ammonia.
It also does one other thing that's very important. It's a more costly and lengthy process, but it makes it more consistent.
Yes.
The taste of the wrapper is going to be more consistent the more they work it like that.
What's interesting is the first to do the triple fermentation was Cohiba, actually,
Yeah.
and the Cuban Cohiba.
Yeah.
They were the first to do that.
Now, when you say double or triple fermentation, do they go back and start the process again, or is it they jump into a certain point of the process?
I think it's more at a certain point of the process.
They go back to it and then do it again.
Yeah.
Reheat them. In essence, reheat them.
Okay.
To really take what most of us would consider the abrasive elements out of it.
Yeah.
The ammonia, et cetera, all the chemical, the leaching.
And the
all that.
temperatures can go from about 90
Whoa.
degrees up to
Yeah.
about 140. And again,
Gets up there.
every tobacco at every manufacturer has a different desired temperature based on what they want to use it for. Now, the higher the temperature, the more it's going to break down. So you're not going to have like a Cameron leaf get to 140
No,
degrees
no,
because it's just going to
that'll crack
it'll
it,
fall
yeah,
apart.
fall
But something
apart.
like probably a broadleaf that's really thick and it has a lot of moisture in it they'll probably hit the higher echelons of those temperatures.
I just,
Echelon, it's
just
very
out of curiosity, when you were at La Flor Dominicana a few years ago, did you get to see how he does everything?
Yep, I got to see everything. It's very intensive process. They have checklists. People sign off. They date their names to be accountable. They put the temperature down, what time they checked the temperature, what time they rotated it. Their mist was like a sprinkler system
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they use that.
on
Yeah.
a timer. They had blue lights inside to zap the bugs.
Yeah.
Because it's always open, the doors into the,
The smell.
I don't know really what he called that area. It was a name, but I don't really remember. It's not like a barn. It's like this housing thing that they have. And then the bales, it's just crazy how much they weigh, and they have to flip them and take from the top to the bottom, and it's a lot. And then they have, I actually held up one of them. It's another name, technical name, but there's all these tobaccos wrapped together
The hand.
in bunches or something like
The
that.
hands,
Yeah,
You
and
said the name last week.
Monos. Actually, you know what?
Mono, hands.
Actually, some
Manos
call it
means
hand.
hands.
Right. There actually are some other. Depends on the country. Some countries call
Well,
it something a
mono's
little bit
Spanish for
different.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was in going through this, there's different parts of the process had different names based on the country.
Oh, I didn't know
was-
that.
Yeah, it was. I found it interesting.
Another interesting thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is,
Done.
oh,
Oh yeah, and then he had me smell it, and it's really horrible.
At that point in the
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a bad smell. But it's not when you're in there, it doesn't smell that bad. You don't really smell the ammonia and stuff like that. But when you get your face to it, it's
Oh,
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
one of the things I found interesting is I guess the first part of the fermentation is fairly standard, and I say this because there are some companies who they'll buy their tobacco already fermented, but it's not fermented 100%.
100%,
They'll
yeah.
they'll buy it fermented about 85% of the way, and that last 15% is where they make it their own signature and
yeah.
their own. They'll try a different Bethune, you know, the temperatures and everything. I thought that was really interesting, that people who buy the tobacco, who aren't vertically
Right.
integrated, the companies will only ferment it to a certain point, and then the company takes over and does their own
Interesting.
thing with it.
Well, the
Very
interesting thing.
But
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
even though they're vertically integrated, I think some still might buy or play with
They do.
other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Everybody does it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was coming to. In Cuba, the way they do it, when they bring them to the areas where the first fermentation is going to take place, which is typically the factories there, and I've seen what they call the suburban factories, which are out of Havana, and then the 8 or 9 city factories. I've been in quite a few of them. What they do, they actually ferment them based on which vega or farm, they call them vegas, which farm it comes from, because they know the nutrient content of the soil in certain farms, and they actually sort it based on that. They will not ferment, even though they may be, wrapper
Yeah,
leaves.
that's true.
They may be the same, which most Cuban natural wrapper leaves are the same. But if it comes from like a vega that is in the Pinar area, which is west of Havana, or towards Cienfuegos, which is east of Havana, they ferment them differently. The process, when I say differently, the timing may be different,
Right.
the misting may be different. But I've actually seen when the trucks come in, the bales are actually marked
Yep.
by the
Before
vega.
it does that.
Yeah, yeah. And actually there is a distinguishment amongst the different kinds of tobacco.
Yep.
Even though they're all maybe wrapper leaf, but from the different farms.
Yeah, I was going to
Wow.
say that. Yep,
Yeah.
they mark them. They say where it comes from, and I didn't know they ferment it differently, but I know they do mark. I saw they marked them because I was curious as to what the writing was on the bales.
And I've never seen in the fermentation process in Cuba, I've never seen the round. It's always
Square?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Oh,
always
really?
square.
Square. Yeah.
There's a lot of shoveling going on.
At what
I'm
point?
sure.
Yeah.
At what point do they freeze the tobacco? Or is that?
Oh, that's
No,
after.
that's
coming up?
after
That's
it's
after.
after it's a cigar, after it's rolled.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't see any freezing.
They freeze them. They freeze them in the bundles of 50.
Yeah.
They just put,
But you're not talking about in that room.
No,
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 totally
no.
different room.
they have a
It's a freezer.
some
I didn't
places.
see that.
Some places they fumigate them first, then they freeze them.
Oh,
Double to kill whatever
I
larva
don't
may.
remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they all do it. You almost have to, because just like your Rice Krispies, it has a certain amount of
Yeah.
stuff you don't want to smoke.
Yeah.
That was a good room to walk
You mean
into,
eat?
though.
Oh yeah, because it's so hot down there. You walk
Yeah,
in
it's
there,
cool.
you're like, all
Yeah,
right.
cool.
I don't
Cool.
remember going in a room like that.
I don't think a lot of manufacturers probably, because when we were there, Rob and I were there, and Christian was there, and he said he knew the reaction of the room. He says, "Okay, this is where we freeze the cigars,"
Yeah.
and everybody was like, "He's like, just
It's not that cold. Yeah.
No,
oh
no,
no,
it's
it's
like-
below
but
freezing."
it's like
But
minus
but it's
10.
not- yeah, but it's not like minus 50 or something
right,
like
but
that.
he's like,
Minus
just
10.
he goes,
Oh, minus
I
10 you
know, I
can
know.
stand.
Everybody does it. You have to.
Oh, you
Yeah.
have
To kill
yeah.
it just kills the larva, and so you don't get tobacco beetles.
Yep.
Well, the reason that if you're going to get, holy cigars, so to speak, the two countries that it's most prevalent are Cuba and Honduras.
Oh.
And I think Honduras is, in the last 10 or 15 years, has done wonders to prevent that. But Cuba still, it depends on how much hard currency they have to be able to afford the gasoline for the generators to do the freezing. And sometimes they take some shortcuts, and that's why you occasionally, if you actually buy real Cuban cigars, you sometimes can
Sunday
hatch.
cigars.
Yeah, they can become holy. But the Dominican and Nicaragua, that's almost never a problem unless you store them improperly or your
Yes.
tobacconist stores them improperly. That's almost never. And if it's going to be a problem, it's going to be more in the summertime than necessarily the winter
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
This is a pretty damn good cigar.
Yeah.
It is.
They have a smaller version too.
Dude, you said
just-
the small version.
They just
is-
came out. I had this smaller version.
Oh, yeah?
It's more of a petite Corona in this Habano, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we have
I-
all the ones
I-
we have left are on the big format.
These are they aren't out yet, but I've had one. It's very very
okay.
good.
Well, we ready to give our final review and hang a number on
There
it?
you go.
Sure.
Moose, you want to start first? Because you're a man of few words.
9.5.
Really?
Why?
The quality of the cigar, the construction, the flavor. And it's just been, from start to where I'm at now, it's just been consistent.
T?
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it an 8.25. Factoring it. Well, I mean, it's $12 for the one, but you buy a box, you save a lot of money because
Yeah,
it's
buy a box for under
$99
$5.
for a box. But I have to factor in price. I like the Connecticut better. I think the Connecticut's buttery. This one is like a sweet and spicy playing with me, so it's. I'm not a huge Habano fan, but it is good.
Scott?
I agree with what Moose said about it being consistent.
Mhm.
The sweetness is still there.
Yeah.
The spiciness comes and goes. It's not as intense, but
It's like back and
still,
forth.
It's still there.
On the spice, yeah.
But I think the
Just when you
sweetness
thought it-
is becoming clearer, and I'm starting to almost like a chocolate or a cocoa to me.
Yes,
Just when
absolutely.
you thought you could back in the water.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, right. I would
From
give
two
this.
different movies you just did.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
I'd give this a 9.
Huh.
Well, he left your room.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I agree. I give it a 9.25. I really like the cigar, and I don't care about the price. I'm just rating
Well,
the.
if I had your money, I wouldn't care about
yeah,
the price
if
either.
you had my money. I don't care about. I'm just rating the cigar. I don't care about the price. I don't care about anything else. I'm rating the cigar, and I give it a 9.25. I think it's really good. So.
Well,
Could just interject one thing before you.
John, go for it.
I would suggest Blanton's single barrel bourbon in this.
Ah,
Okay.
okay. Blanton single barrel. Yeah.
Bourbon's always a good answer.
Yeah, it's always.
I might add, to those of you who might want to try, because it comes in 3 different flavors, since we're running shy of the boxes, and there may not always be lots of boxes in every store with 14 stores, if you assort 20 from any of the 3 flavors, you'll still get the box price.
Yes.
We'll give you the box price, which is under $5 a piece for these cigars, which would normally retail for $12. I like everything about this except the regular retail price, which is $12, a little high, and as opposed to my colleague here on the right, I factor price into it. You know, I call it the price quality quotient.
Yep.
This is your
And,
prerogative.
Yeah, I give it a 9.25 as well, because again, the quality is overcoming the price somewhat in my mind. Just want to remind you, it's still a little chilly outside. Support your local brick and mortar retailer. It gives you a place to smoke this time of year. We don't have stores yet on every street corner, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
And again, don't forget our Saturday night show, which is on channel something or another. It's there. Just look for-
WMCN.
Yeah, WMC. I keep forgetting.
No, it's not. Yes, it
No,
is.
yes, it is.
I'm sorry. We're
Yes,
on
it is.
something
Yes,
else.
it is.
All right.
So, thank you, as we are now well into our 6th year, every Wednesday night. We want to thank you for watching, and
Time on.
Ciao
Life-
for now,
hopefully we'll see you
everybody.
next
Life's
week.
too short to smoke cheap cigars.